welcome to my channel, Among Stouts. If you are new here, my name is Samantha and I am a new homeschooling mom of 4 kiddos. So in today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the curriculum that I purchased prior to our first year of homeschooling that we are actually not using and probably have no intentions on ever using, or we are going to hang tight and maybe one day they will fit into our homeschool days. But as of right now, we are not using it in our homeschool. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about are a couple of writing curriculums. So the first one that I have a set of these. And these are the Evan Moore Daily 6 Tray It Writing here, and I have the grade 1, grade 3, and that leads me to say that I also had one for my son who is grade 5, and before the school year started, I have no idea what happened to that book. We have cleaned our homeschool room, we have gone through all sorts of things from the time of start to now, and we still haven't been able to find his book. So when we started the homeschool year, I ended up just putting these two back on the bookshelf in hopes that I would find my son's and then we would start it all together. But that never happened, so I still have these. Can't find his, so these have just been sitting on the bookshelf, not being used. And I may add them in maybe when my kids are done with like their other Evan Moore books. We have a couple of other books that they use for a little bit of busy work. So maybe whenever they finish those, I will add this in. I haven't quite decided yet, so this is kind of just one of those things that's kind of hanging in limbo in our homeschool. And so the next writing curriculum is the Jump In Middle School Composition. And so that is this here. And I actually had every intention on starting my son off with this writing curriculum. I heard great things about it before we jumped into homeschooling, about it being really great for reluctant writers or kids who struggle a little bit with writing and maybe need a little bit, need a program that is a little easier and breaks it down better for them. And so this was recommended to me. And the only reason why this is sitting on our bookshelf instead of being used by my son is because before the school year started, after I had already purchased this, we ended up deciding to go ahead and join the local classical conversations community, and NCC, they use IEW, so I went ahead and purchased that writing program and used it, and I held on to this just in case IEW didn't work out for my son. But if you saw one of my previous videos, which was my homeschool favorites video, or even if you saw our 6-week update video, IEW is working out wonderfully for my son. It's actually one of my favorites so far that we've purchased for our homeschool. So for now, this is hanging out. I don't know that we will ever end up using it, but I am, because it is for the middle school grades and he's only currently a 5th grader, I have a couple years to hold on to it to see if maybe we will have to transition at some point and try something else. But if not, I will probably try to find another family to gift this to that may be interested in it. Okay, so the next thing that I have is the America Story 1. And I only have the teacher's guide to this because I found it on the Master Books flash sale and the student workbook was already sold out. So I bought this and then thought to myself that I would just buy the student handbook later before the school year started, and I never got around to it because I kind of struggled with figuring out what we were going to do for history. So this teacher book is kind of just hanging out on my bookshelf. It has all of the work pages in it. So the work pages are here, but none of the information that goes along with these work pages because all of that is in the student book. So we can't really use it. So it's just hanging out. This is one of those things, maybe one day I'll get the student book and I will do it with my kids. Otherwise, if someone else has a student book but they're interested in the teacher handbook, then I can give that to them, but we'll just see. And the next thing to go along with that history, because if you watch some of my earlier videos, you know I struggled for quite a few months trying to decide what we were going to do for history. And I did purchase this secondhand, The Mystery of History, and it's kind of just hanging out on our bookshelf. I do really want to start using this with my kids. I also have the discs to it so that we could just listen to it. And this has the activities in here. So I think what I'm going to do is start listening to it with my kids, because this will go along with the timeline memory that the kids do in CC. And if you have watched any webinars or any homeschool, like online homeschool conventions, and you've seen Linda Hobart, she is a wonderful speaker, and she herself drew me to check out this curriculum, and I love her heart behind history and why she created this program. I think we just need to find a way to listen to it or read it or something in our homeschool to make the timeline of history come alive. Okay, so next, this is kind of history socials, and this is both the My Story 1 and the My Story 2. So this is Masterbook's curriculum that I bought from the flash sale and figured that we could use it. So last year, if you're new here, you wouldn't know this, but if you're not, you've heard this before. But last year, after the Christmas break is when I pulled my kids out of public school. And so that second part of the school year, we did homeschooling, and we did most of our homeschooling. Actually, we did all of our homeschooling with Masterbooks. I did tons of research on trying to figure out curriculum, and so Masterbooks really stood out for me, and so I purchased just every subject from them, and so that's where some of these books come from. So last year when I pulled my kids out, we started off with the My Story 1, and you can see here, like, there's some of it that's missing. I don't know what I was expecting with this, but this was it's very entry level and very, I guess, young. And so it works really well my kids were just bored with it. The information in here is, I mean, it's good information because it's like got stuff from all over the world and things like that. But I think we only got through the first quest. So this is broken up into, I think, 4 quests. And we only got through the first one before we just kept forgetting to do it because none of my kids wanted to do it. And so this went on the bookshelf, but I had already bought My Story 2 to use for this year. And, we never finished this one. So we also then never started this one here. I think it has good information in it. It just depends on what maybe your kids, it just didn't work for my kids and I. So these are something that I think I'm going to give this to my sister and then probably resell this one or something. I'm not quite sure. And so then that brings me to the last curriculum book that we have, and that is the Life for Beginners. And I will say the few lessons, like again, kind of like My Story, we did some of it here. The few lessons that we did in this book last year were really, they were fine. They were good. It was okay. But we ended up changing to Gather Round Homeschool. And so I think that is why the 2 of these didn't work. So towards the end of the year last year, I purchased Gather Round Homeschool, the Oceans unit. And that was our science and our socials and all of those things, because one of the great things about Gather Round is it brings in all of these different subjects. So then we just kind of put these to the side and never found the time to do them. And we've kind of just continued that. We have been picking science units from Gather Round Homeschool as well as the science that we get from CC. There just hasn't been a need for us to go back to this book yet. And I think I'm going to hold on to it because there's sections in here. Like when we do the Gather Round Homeschool Human Body, there's sections in here that we can use just as extra reinforcement practice work, like the bones and muscles there. There's also and then the DNA, that'll be a fun one to do. So there are lessons in here that I want to pick and choose to use for my kids. So I'm going to definitely hold on to this one and just implement it that way as extra practice and extra information to pair with some of our other homeschool curriculum that we are currently using and loving. Okay, so that is all of the books that I have down here to show you. I did want to also add, there's one curriculum for my 6th grader that I purchased that I have not used yet, but I didn't want to show it here because it's not something that I'm questioning if we're going to use it or not, because I know that we will. It's just a matter of her being ready for us to start it, which she's been working really well with her reading and getting it down pretty quickly. So I think she's approaching that start point here soon. And that is the All About Reading Level 2. So before I purchased that, I did the placement test, and she placed out of level 1 and into level 2. However, when I got it and when we were about to start it, she wasn't quite ready for the level 2. So what we've been doing is we've been working through her language lessons for a living education from Master Books, and that's been working really well for her and getting her ready for that All About Reading Level 2. So here soon, probably in the new year, we are going to start implementing that with her, and she's really excited to get started into that, and I'm excited for her. So there you have it, guys. That is all of the curriculum that we have purchased and have not used or stopped using here in our homeschool. I hope that this video has been informational to you in some way if you were considering using some of these books. Maybe hearing why they haven't worked for us is something that you're looking for, and so that'll help you to look further into those books. If you guys like these kinds of videos, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I would love having you guys here as a part of my community, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!